Let's welcome back to our show the political leader of the NTA, former Police Commissioner Gary Griffith. Good morning to you. Welcome back to the show.
Hi, it's been a while. Good morning to you and to many listeners.
It has. I know that you've been making the rounds on the group. You've been with some of our sister stations, CNC3 and others. Of course, as always, there's always an issue or a matter that needs to be addressed one way or the other. And the most prominent of this one at this point in time, apparently, preparations for general elections, what's going on, and whether or not, as we saw for local government, there can be any sort of accommodation between the NTA and the UNC. Some really interesting developments recently. When it comes to the comments, we saw the comments of Kamala Persad-Bissessar about you and your tenure as police commissioner, your response and the comparing it to Joe Biden, and even more significant to that, because words are words, sticks and stones. The NTA announcing that it's going after the same 10 constituencies that the UNC has announced. So let's begin with the question, what are they going on? Are they fighting? Are they fighting? Are they pretending for the public? What's the situation?
Good morning again. The NTA is nothing more, nothing less than a bridge constituency that is required in this country. Many people, they see it as being irrelevant. They see it as being a burden. They see it as being an annex to assist the UNC. That is not what the bridge constituency is about. There's a representation of persons who are not PNM or UNC till they die. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with you being PNM or UNC till they die. There are times where political leaders of both parties could say and do anything, and 200,000 on both sides, they don't care. And that is their right. It's the same thing you have with the Republicans and Democrats in the United States. But there are these individuals, they call them knife and fork. You call us the middle income. You call us the floating voters, the independent thinkers, the people who are not centered around one political party as if it is a cult. So that group continues to expand. It started with the ONR in 1981 with 91,000 votes. It moved to the NAR in 1991, of which Kamala Persad-Bissessar was a part of, and she went up against the UNC and lost. I think she lost her deposit. And then she went to the UNC. And that 127,000 votes with no seat, and then this Congress of the People with 147,000 votes. It continues to build because younger persons, especially on both sides of the political fence, they are saying to their parents, yes, this could be a PNM or UNC house, but you can't direct me. In fact, young people are educating their parents that this blind loyalty to political parties is not the way to help a country. So that is where the NT comes about. And probably in 15 years, there will be another name for it. We are not here to split the votes to get the PNM to get more seats, as what took place in 1981, 1991, and 2007. In the same manner, we are not here just to join with the UNC to form a UNC government, which is what happened in 2010. And therein lies the problem, where there's representation by personal views. If something is working, you don't fix it. Satish, when you saw what happened in the local government election, the UNC and the NTA working together defeated the PNM by 68,000 votes. That's bad licks. For every 5 votes, 3 voted for the UNC or the NTA. What happened since then, unfortunately, is Kamala Persad-Bissessar may have been misled by certain persons with their agenda, where they should look at the voting pattern in the constituencies for general election. If we add the votes, we will have more votes than the PNM, which is true. What they fail to understand is that for every 5 houses who voted for the UNC in, like, say, San Fernando, West Grande, Tunapuna, St. Joseph areas in the local government, at least 1 or 2 of those votes would have been previous Congress of the People present NTA voters. I know, because no other political leader walked in the history of this country in a campaign as I did. I walked the length and breadth of San Fernando West every Saturday for 3 months for 8 hours, every Monday and Tuesday in Grande, at the request of Kamala Persad-Bissessar, pleading with me to bring back all the ex-COP type voters, and they all said that. They said, we are not going to vote for the UNC, but if you all are there, we will vote for them. Somehow, there's a foolish impression that the UNC could go alone. History is there. For the 36 years that the UNC has been in existence, not once has the UNC ever won an election on its own in a 3-horse race. That is a fact. It reached the point where in 2001, Ramesh Maharaj has his little Mickey Mouse party that got 188 votes out in Tunapuna. And that turned in 1961 to 1818. And a government collapsed because of one third party with 188 votes. That is the significance. So unfortunately, since this thing worked, and almost every single UNC member was very supportive of it because they saw you work with another party, you defeat the PNM badly, as what took place in '86 with the NAR and the ONR joining with the ULF, 2010 with the COP joining with the UNC. And then she started just attacking us with full force. Who are you? What you bring to the table? How many votes you have? She then jumped on the Monday before the by-election. Leave Jolene John alone with your scandalous behavior. The end result is those floating voters turned a marginal seat that supported the UNC candidate then to change it from a tie to losing by 600 votes in a 3,500 vote area. And then you have analysts like Shane Mohammed say, well, it was a vex vote. So I don't know if it was an unvexed vote that caused the annihilation in a marginal, which is Maruga, by the way. And then recently, calling me a failure, but a few months ago, he said I was the greatest thing since sliced bread. And then that is where everybody said, well, what is causing all of this? So I wish to give the assurance that each and every member of the United National Congress, I think I was more UNC than every UNC member of parliament right now, other than Kamala Prasad-Bissessar. I was in the UNC executive in 2006, defeating the slate with Basio Pandey, Kamala Prasad-Bissessar, Wade Mark and company. It was just three of us, Sadiq Bash, Manohar, and myself. And we were against the Pandey slate. It was 12 versus 3. So since then, I've understood the concept of the UNC, what it stands for. I have the world of respect for each and every member of the United National Congress. I think every member of the UNC knows that they would like to see an alliance. An alliance is an automatic win. UNC going alone is an automatic loss. What is causing this? Please do not blame Gary Griffith or the NTA. Obviously, if you smear our name, you criticize us, you attack us, we are forced to defend ourselves. But the nonsense you're seeing by one or two activists with an agenda to say, oh, what is causing this, Gary? You need to get on board. We have done nothing. Having said that, understand that we are not here to go cap in hand begging for handouts, because that is what caused the destruction of the COP and the collapse of the People's Partnership Government. If I continue to serve a rich constituency that is powerful, that is strong, and we form an alliance with other political parties, we would get into government.
It is always an interesting discussion when it comes to the numbers, because elections, that's what they are. It boils down to a numbers game. And when you have these 10 constituencies that have been outlined, all of which are described as marginal, and you have these nuances about the NTA saying they're going to contest all 10, the UNC saying, well, these are vital, they have 5, they need 5 more. And you look at all the other players, because in these marginal, they're already marginal, which means they're almost split down the center. And being split down the center would be the PN and whoever else on the other side, UNC and all the other forces. But it's not just about the UNC and the NTA anymore fighting these 10 constituencies. Because while you have the PNM on one side and its vote, in my opinion, remains resolute, I don't think anybody's going after the PNM vote or would get the PNM vote in these marginal constituencies. You have the UNC and NTA, and we ain't too sure whether or not you all go kiss and make up in time for the elections. And then you have other parties that people may want to dismiss and say, well, they are persona non grata, they make a difference, they can't even get 10 votes or whatever else. But in marginal constituencies, every single vote counts. You have Michaela Pandey, we aren't too sure. She said she's going to contest 41 seats. We had to wait to see what's going on there. We have Philip Edward Alexander. We don't know what's going to happen with him and who he's going to contest, or which or what or not or the other. And then there are other parties that are coming on the front, and then you have the individuals, you'll have contesting and all these kinds of things. So the recipe does not necessarily suggest at this point in time that a UNC-NTA amalgamation, while it may give a better chance, is not an automatic win. And I just outlined to you why I think so. Am I wrong in my analysis?
Well, possibly. The difference with myself is I am fully aware of the significance and the relevance of all political parties. Anytime you start to discredit political parties, it shows that you have lost that concept of being a politician, because it shows that you find that if you're not in one of the two bigger parties or the three big parties, then you are irrelevant. And 1 minute, please.
Yeah.
Sorry. And with that, it shows that you can't disrespect and disregard these other political parties. It shows that you have now reached that point of being so aloof and full of yourself that you feel that they are not worthy. And that is what you're hearing from certain. When you hear Kamala Prasad-Bissessar speak in such a manner, She was in the NAR. The NAR got licks like a payday trade. She got bad licks. And then you could come on a platform. Who are you? What you bring to the table? How many votes you have? You come to use us. Where this is just the opposite. Who are we? This political leader, you beg me every single day, 4 o'clock every morning, calling me to walk with all of your candidates in San Fernando West to get those votes that you can't get. You beg me to walk Monday and Tuesdays for 3 months in San Grande to walk with your candidates to make sure you don't lose San Grande. And you're using my office every day, every weekend in Port of Spain. And then pleading with me to come on your platform during the local government and then try to disrespect us. When you do that, you don't help the cause. What you do is solidify your base, and the base voters cannot vote twice. So I agree with you. We cannot disrespect and disregard other political parties. Having said that, that's why we do have dialogue with the Congress of the People and hope. The other parties you spoke about, the PEP with Philip Alexander, I mean, I am still waiting to find one logical person that can say, I will support an individual where every single comment he makes is to attack, to discredit, to destroy, to undermine. And there's an important point here, Satish. When it is you look at political parties, you're supposed to look at the leader and see what the leader has achieved. You can't show your achievement by when you are prime minister because you have $60 billion to show all the things, the nice things you did. We have never looked at our political leaders to say, let us see who the career of these individuals, what have they achieved in their career for us to ascertain whether they are worthy to lead our country. Keith Rowley was a geologist. No one knows anything he did in his career other than being a politician. He's a geologist. He was trained to massage rocks. Kamala Prasad says to you ask what was her achievement as an attorney. And I'm not discrediting, I'm asking. Philip Alexander, I think he was a bouncer in a nightclub. Michaela Pandey, I don't know. Gary Griffith, the country knows about me. 17 years in the Defense Force, the first citizen to return home with a United Nations peacekeeping medal, trained in the best military academy in the world, the youngest officer to serve our country during the attempted coup, being the right hand to a president, 3 prime ministers, being a commissioner of police, 43 death threats. And that is what people should be looking at. And who is your leader? Having said that, I do understand and appreciate what you are saying, and this is why I will continue to embrace and speak to other political parties. The party of Michaela Pandey, we're still waiting to see one major political meeting or who else is in that party. The NTA, what we have done is continue to show releases from persons who represent us in education, administration, health, national security, sport, tourism, constantly. In fact, people say that we send out too many releases because we are so proactive. So we would hope that other political parties will continue to communicate with them. I think, again, it is rather unfortunate at the end that the UNC has reached that point to feel that they can win alone. What happened in 2007 is what Kamala Prasad-Bissessy is doing now. Basdio Pandey showed total disrespect to that bridge constituency. And one side got 147,000, the other got 195,000. What happened? PNM won 25-16 or 26-15. That is what is going to happen. It could pour it very well, let me say, happen again, because we go up in Sawa, Barataria with our candidate who's very strong and supported. We go up in Shagona East with Commander Norman Dindial, who has a strong following there, that in the seats are Shagona that Vandana Mohit controls. We set up very powerful candidate in Moruga. If it is we do that, you can get 26-15. We form an alliance with what took place in 2010, you win. It is common sense. I think what happens though is that what I'm hearing is the UNC wants the NTA to go up for all of the hardest PNM seats and expect that, well, you all will lose, but we need your support to bring back your floating voters to vote for our candidates in the marginal seats. Ain't gonna happen. That, I think, is blatant disrespect, because what you want basically is to state, we want a 21-seat UNC government for us to run the country alone. And then you will be at the side, which is what happened to the Congress of the People. The country doesn't want that. I think the vast majority of the country want PNM out. It has been the biggest failure as a government in the history of Trinidad and Tobago. But that 100,000 floating voters, they don't want a UNC government. They want the PNM out, but they want to have representation for themselves with members, majority of the UNC. The UNC appreciates that you get in government. They don't, they will be in opposition for 15 years.
I'm using this word interesting a lot this morning because there are so many messages and signals that are sent when you look at the voting patterns and what happens. And I hear this, and you've said it a number of times this morning, that this bloc does not want to join the UNC, but they will support an alliance with the UNC. Forgive me if I say that don't make much sense to me, even though we've seen it happen in the past. Because I cannot understand how you don't like our party, you want nothing to do with our party, you can never support our party. But if there is an alliance or an amalgamation, well, all right, you're all well, I'm fine with that. It doesn't make sense to me, and maybe I don't understand why, but it happens. It has happened. It has happened in the past. And that's why I say it's so interesting a discussion, because you always hear that, well, these people don't want anything to do with the UNC, but they're willing to go into a partnership with the UNC if somebody else represents their interests.
I will show you Satish, it's there. In 1981, when the UNR was formed, that started the British constituency, right. 91,000 votes. They wanted nothing to do with the ULF at the time. However, they want to get in government. So whether you want to call it holy and rose or whatever, but they will not vote for the ULF. When it is that the ULF said that we will join with the ONR to form the NAR, those 91,000 ONR voters said, no problem, we will do it because we know that there's representation from Carl Hudson Phillip. And you saw the 33-3. Because that 91,000 decided to work with Basil Pandey, even though Basil Pandey did the most honorable thing because the ULF had 12 odd seats from 81, the ONR had none. NAR, I think it was the Tobago Party at the time, led by A.N.R. Robinson. And Basil Pandey believed at the time that the country was not ready for an Indo-Trinidadian prime minister, even though he had more seats. He humbled himself to let A.N.R. Robinson step forward, and that caused the tsunami. Right. I don't think the UNC has anybody with that type of maturity that will ever say that at this time. It's like, we have more votes, we have more seats, so you have to listen to us. And that is the arrogance that we are seeing. In 2007 was the same thing, Satish. There were 147,000 people, and you see that group comprised mostly people from the UNC who they do not like what they are seeing because they see that tribal type of politics, that arrogance, and they move away to join with that third party. And then there are those persons will be mostly Afro-Trinidadian individuals in the PNM who would not like the UNC for whatever reason, but they are fed up of the PNM, so they are looking for a home. And they will come and join, whether it is an ONR, a NAR, a COP, a NTA. And they will not vote for the UNC. But if there is an amalgamation, they will say to themselves, I so want to get rid of the PNM. I am willing to vote for that alliance, whether you call it the People's Partnership, whether you call it the NAR. I will vote for that alliance because I know there's representation for me in that government. Yeah. That is why it makes sense. Because so the NTA joining with the UNC in the local government, you got that 68,000 massive defeat of the PNM. Don't get tied up with the 7-7. That is how the corporations were deliberately set up to try to fool the country. Right. It was 68,000 more votes than the PNM. That was bad licks, and that was a 30% voter turnout. A 60% voter turnout is general election. You multiply that means 120,000 defeat. Guess how much we defeated the PNM by in 2010? 120,000. The math is always there. It doesn't change. You even go to the NTA. 17,000 votes divided by 31 seats we took part in, which were the hardest PNM seats. That's 500 votes per seat. Had we gone up for all 140, you'll be getting 70,000 odd votes in a 30% voter turnout, or 60%. You multiply that by 2, 140,000, which is what the COP got in 2007. So there are people like that, Satish, that would be, they want the PNM out. They are frustrated with the UNC. And they will be supporting that third party, and they will be willing to form an alliance if they know that there's a degree of mutual respect. The reason why the partnership collapsed is because that same 147,000 realized, wait a minute, we just voted for you and your government to get you in government for it to run as a UNC government. And they taught the UNC a lesson in 2015 and 2020. And that is the point. Anytime there's an alliance, the country loves that. They love to see that I could be represented and I could work with the ULF or the UNC. No disrespect to the UNC, because that is the right of these individuals. Whether you see it is right or wrong, it doesn't matter. That's how they feel. That's how they think. Okay. And that's how you will always see. Any alliance always defeats the PNM. The UNC going on their own in a three-horse race will always lose to the PNM.
Let's take a quick message, and when we get back, we'll be taking some of your calls. We're speaking with former police commissioner, political leader of the NTA, Gary Griffith. Our time, 19 minutes before 8. That time check, courtesy Island Finance.
Who's ready to get down and dirty? A brand new bath? The bedroom of your dreams? A kitchen to make you say OMG. Get the cash you need to upgrade your home and live the DIY life. Hit the nail on the head and apply today. WhatsApp 483-8117. Head to a branch near you or visit islandfinancetrinidad.com and live the DIY life.
You can depend on Island Finance.
Subject to credit approval and documents verification.
Welcome back. We are speaking with NTA political leader, former police commissioner Gary Griffith. Let's take a couple of your calls. 625-2257. Emphasis on making them brief. Hello, good morning.
Morning, Satish. Morning, Mr. Griffith. I'm sure. Politics aside, Mr. Griffith, do you think that the crime problem in this country, is it police reform we need, or should the government employ bounty hunters for wanted persons to bring them in? I'll listen off here because it is a ridiculous point.
No, I understand. Okay, so to clarify, I remember Basdio Pandey recommended that once as opposition leader. It makes no sense. Bounty hunters work in North America because of the size of the country. So in Miami, you're charged for domestic violence or robbery, and you go to the other end of the United States. So the law enforcement agencies don't have time to be hunting the individual down. But you know who the criminal is. That is not the situation here. It is not that we are aware of who has committed a crime and we cannot find them. So there's no such thing required for bounty hunters here. As it pertains to police reform, no, definitely not. It worked. And this is where it is. I will always show the relationship between Kamala Persad-Bissessar and Gary Griffith. It was an unbeatable combination to fight crime. She's not a crime expert, but she was a good leader. She understood that Gary is fully cognizant to understand national security, and she gave me the leeway as the Minister of National Security. All the things she speaks about and boasts about in her tenure as Prime Minister for success in national security was under my watch. The highest reduction in serious crime in 31 years, the formation of the Rapid Response Unit, the formation of the National Operations Center, the formation of the Community Comfort Patrol. I drafted the Ministry of Justice for her. She looked at what I spoke about with giving firearms to law-abiding citizens. Every single thing she speaks about now, she picks it up from me. The damming vessels we acquired for $1.2 billion less than the 3 OPVs based on the corruption for escalating the cost of the OPVs. So it meant she understood leadership by giving me the leeway to implement the things required as a Minister of National Security. And it worked. There was no need for police reform. There was no need for a state of emergency. And even as Commissioner of Police, it worked. The police was the most successful. Public trust in the police was 14% when I took over. When I left, it was 59%, from being the least trusted to being the most trusted. Now it is 8%. It was the highest reduction in violent cases. So it showed that we can do this. But if Kamala Persad-Bissessar understands that the main thing that is going to cause the change in government is which political party, group, or alliance is going to be able to provide me my fundamental right to be safe. The UNC does not have anyone right now that has that ability. What Kamala Persad-Bissessar is doing is reading out all the things that I achieved under her watch and the things that I mentioned and did as commissioner, such as firearms. We work together. The country will say that team is going to totally transform Trinidad and Tobago to make it safe again. I am not here to beg or to plead with the UNC. It's facts that I'm giving. If it is they want to go alone, then I will be able to show the policies that the country will hear. It is going to rock the tongue. When you're going to hear the policies, the plans, the programs, the units, the technology that I intend to implement in the first 100 days of getting into government. If the UNC wants to get on board with this, we will walk into government. If they don't, I will do it as my own, our own as the NTA. But I can assure you, we can transform Trinidad and Tobago and make it safe again without any need for any type of constitutional reform, revamping the police service. These were the same officers that performed well just a few years ago.
Yeah. 625-2257. Hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning. Good morning, Satish, and good morning to you, Mr. Griffith. From a UNC point of view, I would welcome you any day in any position in the UNC. If I were the leader of the opposition, I wouldn't wait a moment again. I will absorb all the people that want to come in to join the UNC, because we can't take another day of all these deaths in our country. We can't take the crime. I don't go out again. I go do my things. I come back home. We're scared in this country. Port of Spain now is a city of shooting. We need you, Mr. Griffith. Mr. Griffith, when you are one of the most honest people that I ever met. I'm UNC. You're one of the most. I had a clipping of you when you were police commissioner, and you came and you said that you could only hold the crime up to so much. You can't. You cannot promise the people what will happen in the future. No commissioner of police anywhere will say that. Maybe in the first world countries they may say that. And I have the faith in you, because I had people up. I'm from South. I had people up in Port of Spain, and they when you left, they told us. They said, "We are so scared now that you have gone. What is going to happen to our country?" And look at what is happening to our country now. If you were there, I have the confidence our country would not go this way. Whether you're in PNM, whether you're in UNC, wherever you are, and I just hope. I don't want to get up the day after elections and say, "Oh Lord, I didn't talk my mind." Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
if I could, again, I will definitely not be anything affiliated with the PNM, because the PNM is the problem. I've seen what has happened with ministers of national security giving permission for police to go to Barbados to abduct citizens, them deliberately shutting down and dismantling everything that worked, that had the country feeling very safe just 3 years ago. It is natural evil of what I have seen. Kamala Persad-Bissessar is not evil.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there are people around her who have given her the impression that the UNC can and should go alone because they believe that Gary Griffith can become difficult. Yes, I can, and my difficulty is not to go in public and air dirty linen. But in cabinet, what is required is not to have yes people, but somebody could say, Prime Minister, I think we need to do this instead. And therein lies the problem. There are people as well who were intimidated, whether it's Tom, Dick, or John, whoever they are, and they had a problem with the fact that Gary Griffith became the right hand to Kamala and it put her down that pecking order. This is not about you. This is not about how low down the pecking order we will go. I don't care where I am in the pecking order of the next cabinet or government involving the UNC. I just know that what is required is that we need to work together. So I plead with each and every member of the UNC. Please understand, I am not the enemy. I have not been attacking the UNC. I have not been saying anything negative about the UNC. I have no intention to do so. If, however, Kamala Persad-Bissessar makes false statements to say that I came fourth and I wasn't the best, that was a lie, because I got 82%. I got the highest number of points of all who applied for Commissioner of Police. But the Police Service Commission, they decided to put me forth to bypass the point. So I will just correct misinformation. I think, again, I plead with you all to understand, if you are, the rank and file controls the UNC, not the NATEX, not the political leader. Understand that we work together, which is something that worked, but there are certain people within the UNC. Some of them were strongly affiliated with the PNM, having big managerial positions, and now they are in the NATEX. And all I say, it gives you the impression, is it a Trojan horse? Is it that you still have sympathy for the PNM, that you could be so foolish to be trying to influence the prime minister, the political leader of the UNC, to say, let's go alone, we don't need anyone else? Why would you do that? Why would you go out of your way? And I'm not calling Jolene John's name today. Why would you go out of your way to try to deliberately insist that UNC must go alone? It makes no sense at all.
Well,
you cannot win alone.
Okay. You've said that without the NTA, the UNC stands to lose some of the seats that they have, and I think it's 15 seats you say they might end up with. Of the 10 seats that you've identified, how many do you think the NTA can win without the UNC?
We honestly don't know. Saturday, I was waiting for you to ask that question. You know, again, in the last 9 years, there's never been a poll.
Right.
Whereas you look at the United States election,
actually, just now, wait there. It's confidential, so I'm limited in what I can say until the poll is published. But a poll has been done. It was commissioned, and the poll suggests that the PNM is going to win 2 more seats than they have at this point in time. I think 2 or 3 more seats in the 2025 general election. But it's a question that you can't fault people for asking that question, because
I know.
Because because you are making some pronouncements on the UNC's chances in the election. Now, remember, the UNC has been around, they've contested, they are the official opposition and everything. So there's a lot of credence and credibility that goes with them and their chances in an election. And the NTA has contested the local government in an amalgamation with the UNC, and there was a good showing. But the question must be asked, well, if there is no alliance whatsoever, and from the way things going, I don't know how confident people are that there can be an alliance. What is the expected fortunes, let me put it that way, of the NTA if the NTA goes it alone?
Sure. And as I said, that bridge constituency has increased in numbers. 91,000 in 1981, 127,000 in 1991, 147,000 in 2007. 17 years later, you're talking about anyone between the age of 18 to 35 never had a third option. So obviously the numbers would have increased. But the poll that you spoke about, I know that poll. That poll was done and conducted by the PNM specifically to ask the question, who will you vote for between the PNM and the UNC? And it has been confirmed that the PNM is 58% to 42% because of the how you ask the question in a poll, Satish, is how you get the answer. So the PNM, they know for sure they're going to win Maruga. And it was a simple example. When the NTA worked with the UNC, I got a lot of the NTA supporters who had been previous COP supporters or NAR or ONR to vote for the UNC candidate in Indian Walk. You got a tie. Then Julian jumps on a high horse. I am the campaign manager. We don't need the NTA. From a tie, you lose by 600 votes in an area that had 3,500 voters. If that can't show the significance of a third party, I don't know what is. So speaking all kind of nonsense about, well, it was the time of the day, and Shane Mohammed said it was a vex vote. So what it is, in the by-election was an unvex vote? No, the bridge constituency was there. So that poll, and there's another poll that is now just completed. We should get it today. And the question is being asked, who do you want, which political party will you vote for? And you have all 6 or 7.
Right.
And this is specifically the marginals. And I think what will happen is that you are going to get possibly a repeat of 2007 if we go separate. If it is we form an alliance, you'll get the repeat of 2010.
Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic. It's undeniable that people are very concerned about what's going on and what could possibly happen moving forward, depending on who you speak to. PNM supporters are happy with the way things are. They believe their party has done the best job and they will continue to support their party. That's their prerogative. On the flip side of that, there are people who think that things are not going well and that something needs to be done. So they've put a lot on the shoulders of the opposition forces, let me put it that way, persons opposed to the PNM, putting their differences aside and working together to remove the PNM. So whether or not that's going to happen, we'll have to wait and see how things go. Would you be able to stay with us until a bit after the 8 o'clock news? Or okay, because I want the callers to interact, and that will give us the opportunity. Let's see if we have another call here. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Satish. Morning, Mr. Griffith. Princess Tong here.
Good morning.
Yes, Mr. Griffith and listeners, the situation this country is in today with crime, let's deal with crime alone. Mr. Gary Griffith is extremely relevant to this time. There is no other politician on the landscape right now who has a plan, who has the charisma, who has the gravitas, who has the belly to stand up for the criminals in this country across the board. And because of that, I would like to see in 2025, whatever happens, however it goes, I think Mr. Gary Griffith has an integral role to play in the politics of 2025, and I would love to see him in the government, because all of them put together have failed us. And if we want to deal with crime, Gary Griffith must be part of that solution. That's all for now. Thank you, Princess Tong.
Thank you so much for your call. Not necessarily a question. Let's take another call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Satish. Good morning, Gary Griffith. Mr. QF, I have a quick question for you. If you are made the Minister of National Security tomorrow, how would you facilitate an increased availability of non-lethal protection and possibly lethal protection for ordinary citizens? How will you streamline that process, sir? I'd like to hear your ideas, please. Thank you.
That will be changed within a week, and it's not because of me. There's a certain person who I know well called Nicole Griffith, my wife. She put everything in place. She did the research. She went worldwide. She looked at what happened in Italy and Japan, the pros, the cons. She did everything. She packaged it, gave it to the government. I did it as Commissioner of Police, prepared it, to have non-lethal weapons, pepper spray and so forth be used. You heard the nonsense from the government, well, a criminal might use it to commit a crime. I wish criminals could use a pepper spray to rob someone rather than shoot them. So the stupidity, it seems that the government has always gone out of their way to prevent citizens from defending themselves, which is why I had the problem with this government when I provided firearms for law-abiding citizens, and they had a problem with it. Yet, they were harassing me to get firearms for all their friends in high places. So within a week, we will make it accessible for persons to have the use of non-lethal weapons, which will be, again, pepper spray. It's what I did as Commissioner of Police. Never before the police ever had pepper spray. I provided that because we had persons, sometimes they're a little unstable, and their police now will be using a firearm to shoot the person. I provided the pepper spray. They removed the pepper spray. They removed the body cameras. They removed the tasers. Every single thing I provided, they shut it down because Gary Griffith implemented it as commissioner. Same thing as Minister of National Security. Through Kamala Prasad-Visessa, I was able to implement the damming vessels, 12 vessels that can lock down the country and be able to make sure our borders are secured. Anybody goes down the islands will see those 12 vessels parked up there, moored in Stobles for the last 10 years out of bad mind by this government. We could transform this country. It can be done almost within a few weeks.
Okay. We have former police commissioner, NTA political leader Gary Griffith. Let's take some of your calls. Hello, good morning.
Good morning to all. Mr. Griffith, I have to say that I felt so, safe when you were the commissioner of police. And I really hope that Mrs. Pamela Visessa will really listen to what you are saying this morning. I've never gone against her, but she really has to open her eyes and see what is happening in our country and listen to the people who really care about this island. I really hope and pray that she would really join with all the other parties that are creeping up and do something, because we are in a terrible state. And I hope and pray that you will be in government again. Thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you so much for your call. Are there talks taking place at this point in time, or have those been shelved? What's going on?
Well, I can tell you, up until local government election, every morning, 4 in the morning, she and I will be discussing, and I'll be working to her operational plan, and it worked throughout Christmas, in just Carnival. And then there would have been dialogue with both of us where it was agreed for me even to go up for St. Joseph. So I didn't do anything willy-nilly to put pressure on the UNC. So I just want to clarify that. And then, as I said, in March, all of a sudden, it seemed that because Julian from day one, even before local government, she said, UNC could win alone, we don't need anyone. And that is where Kamala Prasad-Visessa started attacking me, leave Julian John alone. I can't, because her decision, if it is so influential, it is going to put the PNM back in government. And when I speak to almost every present member of parliament in the UNC, every present NATEX member, they all agree. They said it is point blank that if we work together, we are going to win. But there's a saying that, everybody wants to go to heaven, nobody wants to die. Nobody wants to speak to the political leader to state, well, PL, we believe in you, we love you, we trust in you, but we wish to guide you, we wish to give you advice. Everybody is just agreeing to what she's saying, and it will send them back into opposition. When she started attacking me, again, I wish to give the assurance to the UNC, I have no intention to have any fight with the UNC. You all are not in government. The PNM is in government. The PNM has become the problem. The vast majority of the country wants the PNM out. I have my support base. You all have your support base. We work together. We understand the problems. It will work. I sent official correspondence to the political leader, to the chairman. There's not even been the courtesy of a response. The only communication we get is you never know which Monday night she's going to get up and start to attack me. I have done nothing to warrant it. We have said nothing to cause it. I have no intention to fight with the UNC. I am here to support and work with other political parties, inclusive of the UNC. And as I said, it is just unfortunately that one or two persons seem to have a little tabanker that Gary Griffith became too high up the echelon. I don't care where I am. You could put me at the lowest level of the ladder in cabinet or whatever. I am just here as a humble servant to try to fix this country and to be in a position to make you all safe again.
Let's take another call. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Griffith. Good morning, Satish. Two questions, Satish. Mr. Griffith, why is it that since you left the office of Commissioner of Police, have you bluntly refused to sit down with a seasoned newsman and discuss in total your tenure as as Commissioner of Police, giving full, complete account to this nation as to exactly what you did while you were there. And secondly, Mr. Griffith, a talk has emerged in the corridors of the UNC right now that if the NTA has so much of support, then they should show it. Then you should call a meeting in Woodford Square and show to the people how powerful the NTA is. I think it's a legitimate argument. I listened to your response to both questions.
Okay, so the first one, I think I have spoken for the last 3 years. It is the highest reduction in in violent crime in 17 years. I implemented every single policy the country has never seen, the type of technology that peg back criminals, put fear in criminals. I formed the National Operations Center, the Rapid Response Unit, Emergency Response Patrol, the Domestic Violence Unit, tasers, pepper spray, body cameras, Operational Command Center, Commissioner's Command Center, dashboard cameras on the vehicle, the online reporting, police app, 482 Gary, everyone contacted me. There were 43 death threats on myself. I visited every single police station. 95% of the 2nd Division police officers supported me. Public trust and confidence in the police service went to the highest ever at 59%. After I left, it was 8%. I was able to provide firearms for the legitimate law-abiding citizens, never before done. The crime went down to the number 4 concern behind health, education, and the economy. You want anything else you need to know, sir? So that nonsense about I never sat down to speak to any media reporter. I am the most accessible public servant in the history of Trinidad and Tobago. There's not one reporter that can ever say that they tried to contact me and I didn't return the call. So you lie. That is one. 2, it is only in a banana republic that persons will feel we want to see the strength of a political party by how many people turn up in your meeting. I could take $100 and find 1,000 people and turn them up in Woodford Square. That is not how you look at the strength of a political party, sir. That is banana republic politics. The politics to show the strength of a political party is polls or an election. If it is that you feel that the NTA does not have that support, well, then do your thing. We don't have to prove anything to you. If you don't think of this value of the NTA, look back at what happened in 2007 with the UNC. Look back at what happened in 1991 with the UNC. Look back at what happened in 1981 with the ULF. So we are not here to bully ourselves or to blow our trumpet, and we are not here to prove anything to anyone. That is not our. So when people say, show your worth and put people in Woodford Square, I could get $100 and give 1,000 people, and I will say 1,000 people turn up. Look how big we are. That is probably one of the dumbest comments ever made by anyone in the history of politics. Bring people in Woodford Square to see how strong you are. That was a funny one.
Let's take another call. Hello, good morning.
Hi. Good morning, Satish. Good morning to you, Mr. Griffith. I just had some additional things to tell you from my first call this morning to you. I just hope you keep on talking with the UNC and you're able to come and join in with the UNC because you are our hope right now. And just words are mere words. I just hope that you keep on speaking with the UNC.
But caller, okay. I just want to ask you a question because it would fit into the conversation. You are putting the onus on Gary Griffith's shoulders for an accommodation, saying that you hope he continues to speak to the UNC. But there's a question that you need to ask of the UNC. Does the UNC want to speak to Gary Griffith?
Well, I'm part of that. If you want, I could hold your hands and I could take you on. No, I'm serious. I can get a couple people to come with me, and we will go and see the leadership or whoever it is there, and we will let them know exactly how we feel, because we are also a force. We see, Mr. Griffith, I'll tell you something. The people on top in the UNC and the other parties too, they're on top, but we are the people that down on the opposite side. I have to say now, because we are the people that have to face the crime, face all these things that we're facing, the ills in our society today. Mm-hmm. And we have children, we have grandchildren, we old people. Look at that 61-year-old lady that got murdered. It hurt our heart.
Okay.
My heart. We need you.
And I just know before you go. I understand. I hear the concern and the passion in your voice.
Mr. Griffith, I got people that ask me to come and to go and talk to the leadership. I had people that from up north that asked me.
Okay, but
so, I wanted to do that, whether I'm relevant or I'm not relevant.
No, I'm not dismissing you, but I just want to ask you one.
If I don't take a stand, as other people take a stand in this country, we are going to go nowhere. I don't want to get up the following morning and we have crime. We have 1,000 crime from 2023. I had relatives that got home invasion and they were robbed, and so, we thank God. I had relatives that it happened to me also, and I cry every day when I see little children dying now. Look at Port of Spain, gunmen running through Port of Spain. We can't live so any longer. So if it's anything, and you say yes, I will come and I will meet you. If you say yes, I will come and I will meet you, because I'm just an ordinary citizen.
Okay, thank you so much. You hear the concern in her voice, and she's echoing sentiments that you hear from persons across the board, and it highlights how important she thinks these discussions are, and you see how much she has put on top of these discussions being successful. She's highlighted crime and the economy and all of these other things that she believes can be addressed if the administration of the day is removed. And she sees these discussions as a mechanism to get that done, which really paints a clear picture of how important some people believe it is for the UNC and the NTA and others like yourself to get together. But there's Go ahead.
I intend to. I want to double down to all UNC supporters. I have the world of respect for you. The country is hurting. They are bleeding. The PNM disenchanted supporters in 2010, it is a drop in the bucket to how they feel now come 2025. And they've chased the PNM out of town because of that alliance. And it is bigger now. The disenchantment was Patrick Manning and whatever he was doing. But that disenchantment that caused 2912, the disenchantment is much bigger now, but it's just, again, there are certain people that will not vote for the UNC. This is what we bring to the table. We have that grouping that will be there. We are not here to try to prove our strength and our worth to anyone. It is whether you believe it or not. Let me just quickly answer, Satish. What Kamala, I would like to refer Kamala to political war history. Napoleon thought he was invincible because he had certain lieutenants that made him feel that way. So he went in a place called Waterloo and he said, I want to fight Great Britain. I'm going to fight Prussia. I'm going to fight Russia. I'm going to fight Austria. And guess what happened? One of the most tactical, powerful men on the planet was defeated because certain people who he was supposed to be as allies to fight his main enemy, he turned them into enemies. That is what would happen. And if it was either you understand that your greatest ally could assist you to defeat your greatest opponent. If you turn your ally to an opponent, it is going to weaken your resources to fight the main opponent. That is common sense. Yeah. And I'm not here to fight down the UNC. I'm not here. I am here. We are willing to work with. But so let us not be fooled to feel that Gary Griffith is the problem. No one wants to communicate with us. No one wants to speak to us. Whilst at the same time, I cannot make it look like if we're begging to that, I will lose the same support that I have.
Yeah. This we're going to have to leave it here this morning. But you can tell from the calls and the interactions and all those other things, the level of interest that there is in this topic. So we wait to see how it goes. We know that you've extended your olive branch and all these kinds of things. So it's a wait-and-see process as to how this matter is going to unfold. Thank you for being with us here this morning.
My pleasure. Just understand that if it doesn't work, it will not be on my side. I'm willing to make this thing happen, and we would make it happen. I will do what is required to make Trinidad and Tobago safe again.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. And that's where we drop the curtains on our interview with the NTA political leader, former Police Commissioner Gary Griffith.
The best insight, instant feedback, accountability. The all-new Talk Radio Freedom 106.5.